This week we answer one of the most commonly asked questions that any van lifer gets. How much money does it cost to live van life around Europe?
So we're going to break down how much money we spent on our 3-month trip all around Europe in our self-converted van.
And it cost us a total of... So without further ado, let's get into the video. Hello and welcome back to our little corner of YouTube. First of all, before we get into the video, time to address the elephant in the room. You may be looking at this background and thinking, where on earth is all your stuff?
So basically we've just got back from our trip and we've had to empty every single thing out of the van, give it a well-deserved clean after 4 months of being on the road.
Today we're coming to you to answer one of the most commonly asked questions to any person who decides to travel in a van. How much does it cost?
And I think you'll all be quite surprised that it doesn't cost as much as you think.
So if you haven't already, go back and watch the last 2 of these cost videos where we break down our monthly expenditures as we travel through France, northern Spain, Portugal and southern Spain as well.
Okay, for this cost breakdown video, we are not going to be doing it week by week. We're just going to go straight in and tell you how much we spent for our month 3. And then we'll say how much we've spent for the whole trip around Europe.
So like always, we're going to be breaking down our expenditure for each category. And then right at the end of the month, we're going to tell you exactly how much we spent. And we're going to do that all for our whole 3-month trip as well. Okay, so first of all, one of our biggest expenditures is diesel. Getting the van from A to B. And in month 3, we were traveling through Italy, Switzerland, Germany, Luxembourg, the Netherlands. We did a lot of countries in month 3.
And we were in the most expensive countries for fuel as well.
On average in these countries, we were having to spend about €1.65 to €1.80 per litre of fuel, which isn't ideal. In month 3, we spent £317.48 on diesel.
So for our food category, we didn't do too bad really. So for the whole month, we spent £180.32.
And we were really embracing being vegetarian, and although our cost expenditure for month 3 regarding food was low, we were actually experimenting way more with our dishes, cooking a lot on live streams, generally eating like kings. So if you watch month 2's breakdown for our bits and bobs category, you'll be wincing. But this month, we didn't do too bad. We only spent £41.50.
Okay, so for our overnight parking fees, so this includes like going on campsites and everything, we spent £137.93.
We found that leaving Spain to go to Italy, the further in we got and the further up we got, the more we were having to spend on campsites. Was it averaging like 20-30 quid a night?
Yeah,
something
at
like
least,
that.
yeah. Okay, so one cost that we didn't expect and that we haven't really had to deal with for the past 2 months is parking fees. So basically, through the 6 countries that we went through to get home, we ended up paying about £50.29 just on like parking here to go see something, parking there.
Once again, leaving Spain to go to these countries was a bit of a shock because generally parking in Spain is free, but as soon as we got over to Italy and beyond, we were having to pay to leave the van to go into places, which we don't mind. Yeah, this is just a cost we didn't have to deal with before. So just like the previous 2 months, we were doing our clothes washing about once every 2 weeks. The cost in these countries we went to was a lot higher. For the 2 loads of washing we did, we spent £34.32, which is extortionate. So one expense you have to factor in when traveling with your animal is getting them back to the UK. In order to do so, you have to take them to a vet and get a tapeworm treatment administered. So 5 days before our ferry crossing, we took Lola to a vet in the Netherlands to get a tapeworm done, and that came to £26.53.
Okay, so for the whole of month 3, this is the cheapest month.
And we don't know how.
Like we said, these countries were the most expensive countries that we've had to go through. So for the total, we only spent £788.37.
Outstanding.
I think that's class.
That is amazing. So she knows what we spent and I don't, generally. When she told me that total, I was like, you've got to have calculated that wrong.
I had to do it like 2 or 3 times, but no, this is the total. A lot of like outside activities in these countries were free. Visiting like all the castles, we went on a lot of walks, they were all free.
We're super happy with our month 3 cost. We have smashed it. Okay, so now what you've all been waiting for. How much does a 3-month trip around Europe actually cost?
And I think this has really surprised us.
It has definitely surprised us. We thought we were going to spend about £4,500 to £5,000 on the trip. Not treating it like a holiday, but also
not going without.
Not going
experience
without.
Everything.
Exactly, yeah.
And we did.
We did. We had an amazing time. Before I go into these costs, if you've even got an inkling inside of you that thinks, I would love to do that, just do it. Whether it's in a van, interrailing, road tripping in a car, just do it. Europe is an amazing place, and all the countries we went to offered us something different, and we got to experience so much in such a short period of time. So, just like we did last time, we'll be breaking these categories down and then give you the total at the end.
So, over 3 months in Europe, we managed to spend £969.29 on diesel.
blew my socks off when Rosie told me that figure, because I thought we were going to spend at least £2 on fuel, because it's a lot of driving.
So this covers 10 whole countries that we've travelled through and just under 5,000 miles.
To put that into perspective, we went down the coast of France, across the north coast of Spain, down the coast of Portugal, did the whole south coast of southern Spain, jumped on a ferry over to Italy, and drove from Italy through Switzerland, Germany, Luxembourg, Belgium and the Netherlands.
Hell of a lot.
For not very much money. So, to feed ourselves for 3 months on the road in our camper van, we only managed to spend £796.35.
Which is like great.
Like we said, we didn't go without. We were eating really well. Our meals are so much more adventurous in the van than they are back home.
That's also because we're vegetarian. I think you had to think about the meals you were going to cook. Okay, so for our next category, it's basically bits and bobs. So this includes 2 nights out in Benidorm, meals out, anything we needed to buy for the van. So for this category, we managed to spend £402.34. That sounds a lot. I feel like it's a lot. Would be so much less if we didn't do the 2 nights out in Benidorm.
£187 of that was going out in Benidorm. But
totally worth it. Would do it again.
if you haven't watched our couple of videos travelling through the south of Spain, go back and watch them. Our night out in Benidorm is in there and it was an absolute scream. Half of that total is on Benidorm, but
worth it.
I would spend that again tomorrow. Moving on to overnight parking, we learned to go longer without going on campsites the more we got into the trip, and certainly when we were in Spain in the hot weather, we weren't going on campsites as much.
I think that's mostly because in Spain it's nice and sunny, there's loads of free park ups, but then when you hit places like Germany, Belgium, Switzerland, it's harder to have free park ups. So yeah, we had to go on campsites.
In those kind of countries, the weather wasn't on our side, so it was very few and far between where we actually had the opportunity to use our shower that we have in the van to use it outside. We have since invested in a shower tent.
That is going to cut our costs massively.
So for overnight parking across the 3 months in Europe, we spent £342.60.
Our goal for our next time we go out is to cut that in half. So running along the theme of parking, we managed to spend £50.29 on basically just like daytime parking. All of this total is just from month 3. We spend nothing in month 1 and 2.
Moving on to a category which we both despise talking about because they are annoying, tolls. Travelling through France and in northern Spain and in northern Portugal, we spent £146.96.
That sounds like a lot, but I will argue that we would have spent that, maybe even double that on fuel if we would have taken the non-toll roads.
We did take a lot of the toll roads. We would do that again in a heartbeat.
Our next category then is washing. Over the 3 months we only did 6 loads of washing, and that includes washing our bedding all in one go. So we managed to spend £68.82 just on washing. Not too bad.
I think it's great. Moving on to Lola, like I said, when you travel with your 4-legged friend, you've got to factor in these costs. She only cost us on this trip £59.08.
What a little star.
That broken down is basically us getting her pet passport signed with a new rabies vaccination and getting a tapeworm treatment to get back into the UK. But a caveat to that is us getting her pet passport done will save us every time we go over to Europe.
So basically we're making money. For our last category, this cost is medical, £78.95. When we were in Barcelona, Becky was ill first, then it was Steve, you and then me. Everybody recovered apart from me, and I just got worse and worse and worse. I'm pretty sure I had pneumonia. I was ill.
We had no choice but to get a doctor's appointment for Rosie and to pay for some antibiotics.
That was a really fun time.
These things you just have to plan for financially. When you're going on extended trips in all these countries, you've got to plan for the worst. So if it does happen, you're prepared and you've got the money to get you out of that situation. So now the moment you've all been waiting for. For the last 3 months, we've travelled around Europe in our self-built camper van, and it cost us a total of £2,914.68. Pat yourself on the back for Rosie.
I think that's amazing. We smashed it.
We absolutely smashed her at the park.
Yeah.
A little caveat to that total is a couple of things which we didn't include because they're not really van life costs and they're not things which you need to prepare for if you're going on one of these trips.
However, you should always have a little pot of money if things do go wrong.
So in month 1 of our travels, our alternator went. We had to get that replaced and that cost us €400.
So one other cost that wasn't included in our total was our ferry from Barcelona all the way to Rome.
Yeah, we didn't include it because it was a really spontaneous decision. We didn't really have to do it. We don't think it really counts as a van life cost at all, really. It was just something we did for our own convenience. How much was it?
£250.
So with these two things added on, it would be around about £3,500. Still £1,000 under budget to what we thought we were going to spend.
Not too bad.
On our next trip, when we go away for 3 months again, I think we're going to bring that down even more.
I really worked this out. We're going to spend £800 a month. If you think we can do that, or if you think we're going to fail, let us know down in the comments.
I reckon we got it.
We're going to smash it.
So there you go. That is our costs for our 3-month trip travelling 10 countries around Europe in our self-built camper van. We really do hope you enjoyed the video. We hope our cost videos as well as our travel videos have been informative, entertaining, and we can't thank you enough, all of you watching this video, for sticking with us on this journey and getting us to where we are now. We really do appreciate it.
So if you did like this video, please consider giving us a like down below and subscribing.
And keep your eyes peeled for next week's video as we travel through the Lake District, reuniting with Sell Up and Drive, Steve and Becky, who we were with in Spain.
So stay tuned for the next one. But until then, we'll
Catch you next time.